Joe Burrow is out until late December at minimum. With Jake Browning throwing 5 interceptions in 6 quarters, is it time for the Bengals to consider adding a quarterback? Consider trading for a quarterback? My thoughts right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Make sure you check out our presenting sponsor, Sleeper. And let's dive into what is, to me, a very unique topic. And my viewpoint is always add as much talent as you can, as much depth as you can, be aggressive. And that's where I'm at with this one. It shouldn't shock anyone. And yet, I don't know how many of you agree, disagree, and so this is going to be a fun video. Look, the Bengals should absolutely be in the quarterback market. They did nothing last week that should prevent them from being in that market. They lost Joe Burrow. They promoted Rapien, who is not related to me, even though it's one letter off. And then Mike White and Sean Clifford were signed to the practice squad. Obviously, Jake Browning is the starter and will remain the starter, I think, really all season long, unless Joe Burrow comes back, unless the Bengals add a real backup quarterback. And that's where I'm at. The Bengals should absolutely be in the quarterback market, and they should absolutely get on the phone with the New York Giants, because Russell Wilson was benched on Tuesday. I would absolutely be in on adding Russell Wilson to this team. I would absolutely be in on adding Jameis Winston, who is the Giants' third quarterback, to this team. Either one, I'm in on. And I'm out on Kirk Cousins. And the only reason I'm really out on Kirk Cousins is, one, I think it's going to cost more than those other two guys from a draft pick standpoint, and it's certainly going to cost more from a salary standpoint. I'm not really sure there's a scenario where the Falcons are going to be able to pay enough of his deal to make it worthwhile. You know, maybe if they gave you multiple picks or something like that to take on Kirk, it doesn't seem like they're in that mode, the Falcons, that is. So that's fine. Kirk Cousins, unrealistic. But I think Russell Wilson is realistic, or at least should be a realistic target for the Bengals. Not that they will, but they should. And there is a difference. Here's why they should. Russell Wilson is making backup money. A team that acquires him is going to have to pay him like $2.2 million, and that's it. $1.6 million in guaranteed money. It's a 1-year deal. And so you could trade for Russell Wilson, and he literally be your number 2 quarterback. And so I've seen a lot of people say, oh, well, you stick with Jake Browning, you don't worry about Russell Wilson. And I'm fine with that. But Russell Wilson is certainly better than Rapien, Mike White, Sean Clifford. Let's not get crazy here. Let's not pretend that, and I get it, a lot of people are going to see this and say, oh, well, Russ is washed. Fine, he's washed enough to complete 64% of his passes last year in 11 games, washed enough to have 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, washed enough to slice and dice the Bengals on December 1st last year. This year, 59% completion percentage, 778 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Look, I get it. He's far from perfect, and he isn't the guy that made a bunch of Pro Bowls from 2012 to 2021. He's not that guy anymore. The Bengals don't need him to be. I would give up a 6th or 7th round pick. Maybe it's a conditional 6th for Russell Wilson and or Jameis Winston. I would lean Wilson, because I think his deep ball and his ability, even though he has 3 picks this year, to take care of the football is extremely valuable. Like, if you don't have Joe Burrow, say it out loud. What do you want? You want a guy that's going to be able to get the ball downfield to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It's going to take care of the football, and that's going to be able to operate your offense. That's what you want if you don't have Joe Burrow. And so Russell Wilson could give you that. And yet, I'm totally fine rolling with Jake for now. We're going to dive into some poll questions that I put out there here on YouTube. If you're on our YouTube channel, if you're listening, I put it on our YouTube channel and also on X. And just to get to kind of what you think, and these results could change a little bit by the time you see this video, but I think it's going to be interesting to dive into that as well. And some more thoughts, because again, this is about upgrading the quarterback room. Could you imagine if Jake Browning got hurt? More thoughts on that coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is, well, the perfect way to make up to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is now, with players like CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, All you do is pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to a 1,000 times your payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Use promo code BengalsTalk. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. So Jake Browning got hit late in that Vikings game and he started to limp. And that's what really opened my eyes to, all right, well, they should be in the backup quarterback market still. Last week, I had a video planned to discuss Jameis Winston as a possible target. I'm totally in on him. It's not just Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson was benched this week. Russell Wilson could be available. Russell Wilson is a bigger name than Jameis Winston. And so I do think that it comes with some attention when you bench him. But for me, if I'm the Bengals, what are you trying to do? You're trying to have a winning record between now and when Joe Burrow comes back. Because you're 2-1. And if you can have a winning record between now and whenever Joe Burrow can come back, let's say the end of December, how do you get there? Well, you get there by having competent quarterback play. And Jake Browning very well could be that guy. He was 4-3 as a starter in 2023. If he does that same thing, one game over 500 as a starter, and right now he's 0-1 this year, but if he does that same thing, over 500 as a starter, you take that all day long. There's no doubt. But, here's the but. What happens if Jake doesn't work out? What happens if Jake Browning gets injured? What happens? Brett Rapien? Mike White? Sean Clifford? Backups are backups, but you're one injury away from one of those guys. And so for me, if you can get Russell Wilson for a conditional 6th round pick, I would absolutely do it. And yeah, he's cringy. Yeah, he's got dumb sayings and all those things. I get it. I'm not saying that I'm like this big Russell Wilson supporter, but I also want a competent quarterback. And yeah, was he great the other day in New York? New York is weird. Like, do I think that the Bengals could get competent quarterback play out of a room that includes Jake Browning and Russell Wilson, or Jake Browning and Jameis Winston? I do. And the reason why I would give the edge over Wilson over Winston isn't because of like. Jameis Winston's a ton of fun, but he also threw 12 interceptions last season. 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. I think Russell Wilson will take care of the ball more and still be able to maximize your weapons, throw the deep ball, and not have 12 picks in 12 games /7 starts last year. And that's what Jameis Winston had in Cleveland. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson, over his last 14 games, has 8 interceptions, and 3 of those are this year. And he played not so great the other day. I get it, but that's why you might be able to get him for a 6th or a 7th. And really give yourself, one, some Jake Browning insurance, injury, level of play, performance, all of those things. But 2, do it at a low cost and give yourself a chance here. And I get it. You're probably saying to yourself, James, well, offensive line is an issue, and Zach Taylor's an issue, and the defense, and all these things. I get that. I do. But all of those things aren't going to get solved without a competent quarterback. And so insulating yourself and giving yourself another option makes a ton of sense, and another capable option, another option that is better than what you have on the roster right now with Brett Rapien, Mike White, Sean Clifford. Russell Wilson is far better. And not saying he would have to start against Denver, because he wouldn't. I would start Jake Browning against Denver. I would start Jake Browning against Detroit, but it would give you another option, and it would give you a chance here to give yourself a little bit more depth as you try to stay above that 500 mark. Right now, you're 0-1 with Jake Browning. To me, mindset, stay 500 or better with Jake Browning, or when you're Joe Burrow-less. If you can do that, you're going to have a chance here because you started 2-0. So we'll see if they can do that. Let's check out those poll questions real quick here. On YouTube, over 2,500 people voted. 33% of you said, heck yes, add a proven quarterback. 40% said, no way, stick with Jake. And 28% said, make a move if Jake struggles versus Denver. And I did this on X as well. And 38% of you say, heck yes, trade a 7th round pick for Russell Wilson. 34% say, no way. And 27% say, give Jake one more game. And if he struggles, then make a move. If you're in that boat, then you should be on this boat. Like if you're saying, well, if Jake struggles, then make a move. Well, then you'd want to make the move now so you could start to get this guy acclimated to the playbook. And so I would be in on it. Again, not with the idea that he's going to come in and start right away. I wouldn't do that. But I would upgrade that backup quarterback spot and give yourself a real option that you can go to, injury, performance, etc. I appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening. Make sure you check out Enter the Jungle. It was a really fun episode with Andrew and myself. And if you haven't yet, make sure you join our membership program. We are growing. Our membership program is growing and the content is coming your way. Andrew's doing something really cool, film breakdown wise with a special guest. So become a member today on our YouTube channel, Cincinnati Bengals Talk, as we get ever so close to 60,000 subscribers. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.